Hello, welcome to Scrap Time. My name is Christine, and in this video, I'm going to continue talking about purging. Now, I've already done one video about purging where I talked about the 3 stages I've already gone through purging out my studio. I had piles of stuff, and I've gotten rid of most of it. I still have some to bring to the school. But I'm ready now to move on to my next stage. So even though I've purged all that stuff, there's still more work to do. So I'll take you a little tour so far. So one of my big problem areas is the top of this storage unit. It ends up being a dumping zone and a piling zone for so much stuff. And I want to address that and try and find a home for this stuff or get rid of some of this stuff, figure out what we're doing so it's not always looking like a big mess. I also still have some drawers down here I need to go through. Some are actually empty that I can move stuff into. So this is still an organization zone. We come along, you can still see the top of that desk. Under our TV here I always throw stuff. And then another big area, problem area for me, is down here in these drawers. It's great to have these drawers, but you end up just throwing everything in there that doesn't belong somewhere else. And they're all filled with stuff that I still need to address. There's one more there. And then on my table here, I have my twirly unit, and you can see there's so many pens and scissors and stuff in here. I have to empty all this out and sort it out. And here on my 3-tiered unit, I've got all my inks. I have to make sure, are these the supplies I still use and want to keep handy? I like to put whatever I use often here so I can just reach for it, use it. And then I have my table that again has been a dumping zone. So I still have more work to do. I have my little buddy here. This time Albie wanted to say hi. He's gonna help me. I bet you he'll walk through some of my purging because Albie loves to craft. Right, Albie? Yes. So Albie and I still have busy times ahead, and in this video I'm gonna give you some more tips for purging. When I'm purging, I also like to sit and just look at my studio. I find sometimes as I sit here and think, ideas come to me. Things I want to get rid of, things I'm going to move. Like for example, right there in the middle is my pan pastels. But I don't use them often, definitely not getting rid of them. Do they need to be there? The good thing is that they look tidy where they're there. Do I put them away? Do I put something else there? These are some things that I sit here and think about. It's sort of hard to see, but down on the bottom shelf there, I moved my scan and cut to the shelf. And that was when I was sitting here thinking and staring at it. I figured out that I could do that. And I got up and did it. So a lot of my time is spent contemplating my studio. You see down there those bins. Those really bother me. You can see through them and all the stuff behind them. And so I'm thinking that maybe I might change those to doors because I don't really like looking at all that stuff piled in those bins. I do have to still purge it though. But that's another thing. If you just sit back, look at your studio, and contemplate it and see, what do you like? What don't you like? What can you change? And then it will help you put together a plan of action. These are all the dies that I currently own. I'm able to put them on my table and look at them as a whole, just so I can really see what it is I have. Now, I've been purging my dies every year. And this is what I've come down to. So I've been looking at them, and the borders I have left here, I really like. So I'm going to keep all of those. I just got that Flip It card die, so I'm going to keep that. And I love my paper doll die. I haven't used it in a while, but I did a very popular class way back. And it's just fun to play with sometimes. That there is a little envelope type goodie bag die I like. I have a cake box and a coffin box, and they're both fun. But I have I love the bag, and I have this popcorn box, and I think I'm going to get rid of the popcorn box. I don't think it's one I use as much. This texture one I used, but again, I don't know if I'm going to pull it out. So I'm considering getting rid of that one, but I'm keeping all my crazy birds and cats. Those textures I use, but I'm considering getting rid of. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sort of doily dies. So I'm going to take a better look at those and eliminate maybe 2. Now when it comes to the nesting shapes, of course I'm going to keep the circles. I'm contemplating the ovals. And I have these labely ones as well, which I'm contemplating keeping, getting rid of, as well as the nesting tags I don't think I need. I have a pile of hearts, which are always good to have on hand. The Polaroid is fun, so I might keep that in the letters, but I'll get rid of the speech bubbles. I'm going to keep the butterflies because I don't have many butterflies, and the stitched rectangles. So if I'm keeping the stitched rectangles, I might get rid of one of the other ones. The emojis are fun to have, and the 3D diamond and the horse/unicorn/Pegasus. I think I'm going to get rid of my embossing folders. I don't tend to use them much. Keep the confetti, and then I'll look through. These are my little big dies I have, just to see if I want to keep them or not. So when you're organizing your dies, say you have too many, you can't put them all on the table like I did, put them by type. So put all your nesting dies together and see, do you need all the nesting dies? Put all your shape dies together and just go through it and see if you can eliminate some that in the end you won't really miss. Next up, I had 2 boxes of ribbon. So I'm going to just talk my way through it, letting you know what I'm going to keep and what I'm not. Now, Tulip might have some different ideas, but let's get to this. So this netting I have had for about 4 years. It's going to go. That little mound of twine there, I had gotten to make some bracelets. We made bracelets a few years ago. That's going to go. I don't even know what that black and brown was for. It's going to go. I'm going to keep a couple of these lacy ribbons, but not many. This was red velvet that you think I would use at Christmas, but never did. Now let's get Tulip on her way. I've had this ribbon here, decoration, and I used it on one gift this past Christmas, but that was about it. So I think that's going to go. I love this velvet, never use it, it's going to go. I'm going to keep my twine, probably not the solid colors, but I like the mixed colors of twine. I'm going to keep some of these. Now, however, this whole Sew Easy kit with the sewing templates, it's really cute. It makes really nice projects. I never use it. All of that is going to go. I've had this most beautiful fabric for about 14 years. So you know what? It's gonna go. I have a couple Tim Holtz ribbons here. I'm gonna hold on to a little longer. I actually used some of this with my gifts. Embroidery floss. Again, I've had it forever. I think if I'm going to do a project, I'll just rebuy it. I did use some of this ribbon on a project, but I don't think I'm really going to use it much more. I think I'll get rid of it. And this ribbon here was from something I made Gemma at Halloween. The scraps aren't big enough to do much with, so I think I'll just get rid of them. So that's about most of my ribbon. I think I'll be able to get rid of over half of it. Tulip, well, she has her back to us, so she probably doesn't agree. But this is how you can work through your ribbon and get rid of it. What do you use? I only use some twine on some cards, and I use it to wrap gifts and that. But otherwise, I don't really use much ribbon, so there's no use in holding on to it. As I was going through my drawers, I found this box of metal stuff, metal and metal tools. And I knew I had it, but I didn't know where it was. I actually thought, well, maybe I actually got rid of it in the past because I hadn't used it in so long. And this is one of those items that I love metal and I love making texture with all these tools, and it's a lot of fun. But as I said, I lost it. I didn't know where it was. I haven't used it in over a year. So I'm not even really going to look through this box. I am just going to put it on the to donate or get rid of pile because I haven't used it as much as I love it. So this is one of those tough calls where maybe I'll use it again, but we try and be realistic and just go with our gut and get rid of it because I haven't touched it in over a year. In my quest to eliminate products that I really don't use, it is sad to say I think I'm going to have to part with some of these graphic pens. Now these are great pigment pens. They write over top of dark things, surfaces. There's lots of colors. This was one of the little samples I did with it. You can wash them out with water. Once they dry, they're permanent. They're really great, but I don't use them. And by putting them in a box on the top shelf of my bookcase will mean I really won't use them. So what I think I'm going to do is just pull out a few of the colors, the black, the white, and maybe a couple colors, put them in my table spinner, and then the rest I'm going to sell. Another set of products that I adore but I never use is my Faber-Castell big brush Pitt pens, other size Pitt pens, my gelatos, and then their watercolor pencils. Now I have other watercolor pencils that I use, so I don't really need those. And I love my gelatos, but I haven't probably used any of this in probably 2 years. And so even though my heart is like, but maybe, I have to be realistic. I even have these little sheets with different techniques to use. But will I ever use them? I don't know. Do I just part with them? This is one of those tough decisions I'm going to have to make. I think what I'm going to do is separate them from my stash, put them aside, and think on it over the next couple days. But something tells me once I separate it from my stash, it's probably not going back. Sitting under the box of the Faber-Castell stuff was my box of my Liquitex paint markers. Now I don't use them. I know Gemma has used them a couple times for some projects. So this is another one of what should I do? And again, I think I'm going to put them in a bag. I'm going to talk to Gemma because sometimes she'll use them, but it's not something that I really use that often. These are all the stamps I own. I'm pretty much able to put them on my table, with the exception of my pile of Tim Holt stamps. I'll have to put those out later. But otherwise, I have been purging my stamps a few times during this purge, and this is what I currently have. Now I would like to point out that I have this cutest little Alice in Wonderland set that I haven't even inked, and I've probably had it for a few years, but I'm not getting rid of it because it's cute and I want to have a chance to use it. And that's probably because I had too many stamps. So I don't know how many more I'll get rid of. I don't have that many. I separated it into my Christmas sayings, my everyday occasion sayings, a few alphabets, wood stamps, some images, and I have mainly backgrounds and textures. But if you are just starting out, put your stamps all on your table, again, by type. So put your texture stamps on if you have too many, then put some images, your alphabets, your greetings. See what you have, see what you can get rid of, and I bet you won't even miss what you decide to purge because you probably have too many stamps. So hopefully that gives you some ideas for organizing your stamps. Here is another cool product that I feel it is time to get rid of. I've had these for a while and I used them in a video and they were really fun to use, but I find unless I was doing a big canvas, it's not a product I would automatically go to. And I took an abstract art class and I never actually ended up using them on any of my canvases. So I have moved them from my paint cart to a drawer, and now I just have to be realistic and say, this is an item I should really part ways with. I also took this time to reorganize my Copic markers, and I realized that I'm actually missing a few colors. So maybe with some of my purging funds, I may buy a few extra markers. Next up, I have all my collage papers. So here I have some stickers and the new Jane Davenport collage sheets. I have so many doilies. I have printouts of some words you can add to your pages. I have piles and piles of book pages. Some paper. These are sort of cool. Some stamps from Japan. Maps. I had printed out some drawings that Gemma did when she was younger. Collage sheets I've made. Some Japanese papers. Tissue. Book sheets. Papers. And these are some little papers to add for texture. So considering how much I've been collaging and art journaling, which isn't a lot, I have way too much stuff. Now I want to fit it in one or two of those boxes that I previously emptied. So I'm just going to go through and try and be realistic of what I need here and what I don't need here. And even though it's great, I don't think I need like all those book pages and all those doilies. So I'm going to destash a bit and put the rest back in a couple boxes. So I finished organizing all of my collage papers, and this is the pile I'm keeping. I kept just a few doilies, one of each of my favorite of the Jane Davenport collage sheets, a few book papers, those stamps, just one piece of a map, the Japanese papers, some collage papers, that texture stuff, the things I had photocopied, and then a handful of the papers I made. This is the pile I'm getting rid of, and everything else I threw away. So all this will fit in only one box, and it will be nice and neat, and I can just pick through the next time I'm doing a collage. Here's another little tip. I had these paintings that I made during my watercolor class, and I like them, but there's not much I can do with them. So I'm cutting them up and making little cards that I can send as note cards when I have to send a note to Gemma's school. Or you can actually cut them into card size and send them to people you know. So if you have any watercolor paintings or even acrylic paintings lying around, turn them into cards. Now I have my embossing powders, which I tend to have quite a few of considering the amount of embossing I do. And then some glitter, which I thought I had more, but I am fine with that amount. I might even get rid of some. So let's start with the glitter. I have those big chunky glitters from Heidi Swapp. And I use them on some marquee letters, and they tend to go everywhere. So I don't know. It's a tough call. The little fairy glitter, I think I'll just keep the white one. Get rid of sort of the champagne one. And like that's basically the type of glitter I use a lot, right? Is the white. But I have quite a bit of it. And I think I'll keep both of my distress glitters. Now when it comes to embossing powders, I have 4 of the aged from Stampendous. So maybe I'll get rid of 2 of them. They are sort of similar. I have this sort of glittery one, and I think I'll probably get rid of that. I don't know if I'll be using it. Then a lot more glittered embossing powders. I might just keep the red one for Christmas. But I'm thinking I might keep a rainbow of colors in the back there. Just a couple of the metallic ones. And I'm going to try again with the sticky embossing powder. I'm not the best at that technique, but I'm determined. So I think I can get rid of a few of my powders. Because once again, I said I have quite a bit of embossing powder for a person who doesn't really emboss that much. So put out all your powders, put them in all the different categories, see what you need, what you can get rid of, what you might even have doubles of. I had doubles of a color, and go from there. Here I have sponges, some for pan pastels and other sponges, and a bunch of texture tools. I've got quite a few brayers. Don't know how they sort of multiplied. Some sponges, pipettes. So I think I can get rid of one of the sponges. I'm going to maybe retire some of my older brayers since I have some new brayers. And I might be able to actually get rid of those applicator tools here because I have a spinner already with the ones I mainly use. So these are extra ones. But I'll keep all the other sponges and the pan pastel tools. So I'm not purging much here, but I need a better place to store them. So I'm going to look around the studio to see the best place to keep them. I think I finally finished all my purging and cleaning. I managed to get rid of all this stuff. And remember, this is my 4th time purging my studio within a couple months. And I emptied that unit there. So I think it's very successful, and I think now I'll be able to create in a much cleaner environment.